Hi, and welcome to this masterclass with the renowned Swedish director, Isabella Eklöf. Her debut feature is the award-winning film Holiday, and she's currently in Greenland working on her second film, which is why we're meeting on Zoom. My name is Lin Alluna, and I'm a director from Denmark. My first short film actually won at NFFTY in 2010, so I'm really excited about being back. But now I see Isabella's coming, so get ready, and I hope this masterclass will inspire you to make lots of new films. So I'm really excited about meeting you, and I'm just, I think that because this will be viewed by some aspiring filmmakers who are maybe looking for hearing about your journey of becoming a director, and maybe if you have some advice for them along the way, that would be really nice for them to hear.
I mean, I'm now talking from the perspective of someone who considers themselves an artist, you know, and that's an important distinction to make, because a lot of people do come into the industry and don't have that ambition, but I think they should. Because I don't think you can make a film that does not have a statement. Every film has a statement. And if you're not careful, that statement is going to be something that you don't necessarily get behind. And you have to be very observant about yourself, what exactly it is you're saying or the stuff you do. And if you only want to make entertainment, actually that's never only entertainment. That also has a very clear message. And unfortunately, often that message is in the service of people who control us economically. So what I'm saying is, you're always making art, whether you want to or not, and rather make good art than bad art.
I like that.
That's my message to you.
Das musst du wissen, dass wir hier sehr das Natürliche schätzen. Wir meinen nicht, dass der nackte Körper etwas Merkwürdiges ist. Er ist im Gegenteil sehr unspannend.
Was ist's, Mädchen? Ist es dir peinlich? Was denkst du, dass du hast, das wir nicht schon 1000-mal gesehen haben? Der menschliche Körper ist nichts Merkwürdiges. Du bist nichts Merkwürdiges. Das Handtuch gehört auf die Bank. Das da ist unhygienisch.
Or you were very generous to share some of your earlier work with me. And
yeah, sorry about that.
No, I really enjoyed it. Thank you so much. So I just noticed that a lot of the work, it feels like it comes from a personal place. It feels like it's not just an article you read somewhere. It's something that resonates within you. So I'm very curious about if that's true to you, and if it is, then how do you work with your personal experience in your films?
I don't think it's possible to make a good film if you don't have that, to be honest. I mean, you can make an okay film, you can make like a work of entertainment, but if you're going to go in deeper than that, you need the personal connection, you need the passion. Or you're not going to be able to be so alert to all the details, and you gotta write about what you know about, and that doesn't have to be a literal sense. You can totally do a fantasy story or something in Greenland, but you have to understand. I mean, you have to not just understand the characters on a deep psychological level. You have to identify with it. You have to identify with every single one of them, and you have to have questions, because if you don't have any questions, there's no reason to make the film. It'll be bland, and if you think you have the answer before, it's going to get really bad and political, and in the wrong way. So yeah, I just think that's an absolute necessity. And I do meet colleagues sometimes who struggle with their own. I mean, everybody has some kind of, I wouldn't say trauma exactly, but everybody has some kind of like itch to scratch. Something even if it's just being, you know, too nice or whatever, you know, everybody has something that's hinders them, holds them back, that's hurting them somehow. And that's what you've got to talk about. I mean, I think that's why we make art.
How do you find out what to look at and what to dive into?
It's a very difficult thing, you know, and you make mistakes along the way. And that's another thing that you have to learn to live with as a filmmaker, that it's okay to make mistakes, and it's okay to abandon projects, and it's okay to write a script that's really bad and then just, you know, throw it away and write another. I heard this great thing just recently that really opened up my mind to why we do what we do. There's apparently when a chimpanzee falls out of a tree, all the other chimpanzees like immediately gather around and start, you know, talking about what happened and why, and, you know, trying to analyze. And that's exactly, I think, what art is. And that's why I don't think we should be so ashamed to go in the dark places and the weird places, because actually I think that's exactly what we're doing, is trying to understand it. And ask questions. How could he fall? Was the branch rotten? Did he fall asleep? Did he slip? Was he distracted? You know, this is the reason we are the human ape. That we always ask these questions, and we always try to learn, that we can actually learn things that are not in our genetics, you know, that we shouldn't have a clue about, you know, and transmit them from generation to generation.
In terms of messages, do you have different messages for each project, or is it the same that goes through everything you do?
Well, I don't think anyone can see any of my movies and not get that I have daddy issues. So I guess, I mean, the stuff that we are passionate about, the stuff that we keep, you know, the scratch that we keep itching, it often starts in childhood, of course, and I mean, because that's where we're building our whole identity, that's where we're building our understanding of the world, and that it's so crucial to how the brain works that, you know, we just keep on coming back to these places where we couldn't make sense of it, you know. And I had I could talk about my family and my upbringing for a long time. It's a complex story, but I did grow up with a kind of a psychopath father and an autistic mother. And it's a very complex situation. My father was extremely intelligent and fun and very pedagogical, actually. Like he knew a lot of stuff, and he brought that learning on. But he was also, of course, cruel and heartless and all the other things you associate with maybe psychopath, maybe narcissist, doesn't matter. You don't have to put a label on it. It was difficult. And my mother was not warm and nurturing. So I guess I'm stuck in that complex of kind of being daddy's girl, want to, you know, live up to him and be as fun and cool and vibrant and intelligent and adventurous as him, but also just being in this weird void of lacking a grounding, like no grounding. And I think these are the complexes that everybody just is like floating around in forever. and all our passions are guided by this. And that's what we have to kind of take seriously, you know.
Yeah.
Most of our core pain and our core problems are like super duper cliche. Actually, when you think about it, you know, when I describe it like that, we heard it a million times before. But it doesn't matter because it's unique to you. It's your problem. It's your passion. you know all the details about it, you know all the little words that hurt, and you can describe this like nobody else can. And therefore, even though it's a problem that other people have, it's certainly not a problem that everybody else has. People have very different cliches, like some other person might have been the nice girl her whole life, you know, and just doesn't allow herself to feel pain, or somebody else has had a very, very serious sickness and now he can't talk about anything at all, and he just tries to be funny the whole time, you know. And, you know, there's like a million issues, and all of them are sort of, we heard them before, but it doesn't matter, because that desperation and that longing and that striving, it has its completely unique flavor for everyone. Like, we truly are snowflakes, and it is interesting to watch a snowflake. I think that's what, you know, people forget. You know, snowflakes are super cool because they really are. Yeah, they're kind of all the same, but they're also super cool to study. And as I was saying before, that's what we people do. We study stuff and bore into the details of it, and try to find the unique issues, the unique solutions, the unique weirdnesses that come out of just existing, you know.
How do you find out what to dig into or dive into in terms of your experience? And
yeah, that's very difficult. That's very difficult, and you have to be open to failing a lot. Like, I think this is an old truth, but I think you can't hear it enough because it's so difficult to fail. It's so painful, and this is like a, you know, classic big CEOs say that, you know, yeah, 90% of all their projects fail. Like 90%, that's a lot. That's 9 out of 10. Most people would be down in the dumps for that, and that's true for art as well. You know, you have an idea, you run after it, and it turns out to be brilliant or super like bland and interesting. You just don't know. That's why you have to run after it. You know, you seriously don't have a clue how it's going to turn out, and that's what makes it good. And that also means that sometimes it's shit and embarrassing, and you know, and you have to fail a lot of people who are expecting you to provide something, you know. Mm-hmm. And that's also something I think people have to be better at generally in art and otherwise, is to not expect the same result all the time, and to not expect generally, you know, now we're getting political, but generally I feel that what humans are really good at is playing. We're really, really good at playing games. And I think in the future, where we build a better society than this one, work should definitely be approached as a kind of a game. And because that's where we thrive, that's where we get creative, that's where we get, you know, you can get so immersed in your work, you know, that you're producing so much, and that's what we want of the people. And of course, with more and more automation, I think we can ultimately go there. We have to respect play. We have to respect how much play is at the core of our being, you know, and anything else is sort of just a crisis response. You know, shit, I'm starving. Okay, I've got to I've got to sit down and work hard, you know. But you can't live your life like that, you know. And we have to work to find a society where people can actually be playful at work, everyone.
When you're making a film and you're following a thing that you want to experiment with, that the film takes another turn that you didn't expect and you have to follow that, or do you keep online and try to push it in the direction that you foresee?
I think it's important to do both things at the same time. Yeah, you have to absolutely open your mind to all the things that come to you that you couldn't have expected, and that's one of the reasons I like to work with sort of real life true stories kind of thing. I like to work with people who know something I don't know, so I can get their details into it and then mix with my understanding of the world. And that's when you get unexpected results, you know, stuff you couldn't have figured out. But I also think that you have to remember to stay true to your core, so you don't put yourself too much outside of yourself and go. And you know, it can be very easy if you're enthusiastic and you like to be nice and play nice, and you know, oh, that's a good idea, this is a good idea, and I'll follow you down this road, and suddenly you don't exactly know why you're there anymore. Why am I doing this again? Oh, just because someone gave me money to, I guess, you know. And that can easily result of years of wasted work, and you have to always remember to ground yourself, and draw back to what's the purpose of this? Why are we doing this? And that's why it's actually true. I mean, it's a super cliche, but it's actually true that, you know, when some set designer comes to a director and says, okay, here's a blue cupboard and here's a green cupboard, which one do you want? Of course the blue, you know, and you don't know why, of course the blue, but in the whole, it's actually, it probably will make sense that it is, of course, the blue. And this is something buried deep inside you that you don't necessarily always know why. But that's also the nature of art. You're not supposed to know why exactly. And it's very important not to analyze yourself too much before you do the work, or you'll kind of kill it. Leave that to the academics, you know. Just do it. Just do what's fun and passionate and dangerous. Yeah.
Hej, skat.
Fuck, det er lækkert det her, hva'?
Sygt lækkert.
Har du bygget det selv?
Yes, lige fra scratch af.
Jeg tror du ikke bliver solbrændt, Carsten? Dygtig hund, Musse!
I'm very curious about how you work with your actors, because there's this one scene in Holiday where I think this is the first time you see the whole family out by the pool. And for me, all those characters were just so realistic. I felt like I knew all of them, and I was just so amazed with, okay, just by jumping in the water like this or going past the camera like this, I know him or I know her. How did you do that? Was it improvisation, or was it them, or what did you do?
Well, that's a mixture of a lot of things. I mean, I think I'm happy you like the scene. I like it too, and that's it's a very interesting thing. I read an anecdote Ingmar Bergman wrote in his biography. He once he wrote about watching one of his idols. I think it was Alf Sjöberg, an old Swedish theater director, watching him direct a dinner scene. As when Bergman was a young man, and he watched Alf Sjöberg, and there were, I don't know, 20 people around the table. It was probably one of the Russian plays, Cherry Orchard or something. And he was like, okay, so you lift a cup of tea and you walk to the left and you look at her, and Bergman was like, oh God, this is so dry and boring. How can you work with actors like this? And then Alf Sjöberg said, go, and it was like just super organic and everything fell into place like clockwork. And that's a great anecdote. But that's just one part of it. I think you can totally direct like that. And I think you should direct a little bit like you're playing with dolls in a dollhouse, you know, because you're the only one who sees the motion, you know. It's very much about time, about music, about motion. So this person goes there and this person is there, and you know, you're painting in time, right? So that's one part of it. You should absolutely choreograph all the time, definitely, every scene. But also, you should have actors that are so connected to the story and the characters that when you say, jump in the pool, at this point, they know they can take it further and then, you know, do a handstand in the pool, and somebody else will talk to them, hey, can you do a handstand? Oh, you're so good, you know, and go on off on a tangent. I learned that from Ulrich Seidel, actually, who I think is a master of, having people act like real people, not like actors. And I did approach him once after a masterclass and ask him how he did that, and he said, I just drink wine with them. And I think that's like, those are the two like polar opposites that come together to whole. Just drink wine with them, get to know them, talk with them, just chat about love and work and life and shit, and just magically you will develop a mutual understanding of what the character is, and you will develop a mutual passion for defending that character. And that's maybe the third thing already on the script stage. You have to always defend your character. You cannot create an evil guy without trying to understand them. They will be completely inhuman and bland and boring and not relevant to life, because everybody is born good. This is a fundamental truth. And then you put stuff on top of it, and people break and people do terrible things. But everybody is a baby in their core, you know. And you have to be solidaric with them, and the actors have to be solidaric with them. So you write a character like that. You have a sort of an not intimate relationship necessarily with the actors, but definitely deeply personal. Share yourself with them, and they will share back, you know, and they will put bits and pieces of themselves in the character, and they will be generous and giving and unafraid. And I don't understand how, you know, some directors are known to like shout and scream at their actors. I don't understand how they can get any good work done. I don't understand how that happens, because to me the fundamental thing is trust. Like if they trust that if they jump in a silly way, they trust me to catch them, you know, and say, okay, super, just jump a little more to the left or whatever, you know. Everything is safe, everything is harmless, everything is play. With trust and mutual understanding and mutual intimacy, they can feel free to open up completely and not be afraid to make shit up as we go along. And if it doesn't work, we just go again, you know. It's no biggie. Just keep on playing, keep on having fun, and you'll get all these unexpected little bits and pieces. And like truly, film is a Gesamtkunstwerk. Wagner tried to do the Gesamtkunstwerk, where all arts were put into one in opera, but that's not true. It's not opera, it's film. That's the real Gesamtkunstwerk, where all these different talents come together to make a bigger whole, and the director doesn't always necessarily have to be that good, you know. If you have all these talented people who are truly open, and of course that's part of the director's job too, but if they are, then you will get wonderful cool stuff happening.
What I'm really amazed about is that I felt very attracted to all of your characters. I felt like, wow, Michael is so sexy, and like everyone's there. Like I can really relate to what you're saying, that no one is just evil. I really love that I have so much sympathy for all of them, and I could hang out with all of them and be friends with them. At the same time, they're really like unpleasant as well.
Yeah.
There's this constant danger lurking everywhere, and I think that's super drawing for me.
I mean, that's trying to mirror the situation that she is in. She's looking for a family. She's looking for that warmth and fun and carelessness. And at the same time, she doesn't understand that it comes at a cost, you know. And I guess in a way she's willing to pay the price, but it's a tough one. Yeah.
Look at me.
Oh!
Please. Something even remotely like this will never happen again. Do you understand? Do you understand?
Never. Never.
This is your one and only warning.
Thank you.
Damn right. Now give me the money and get the fuck out of here.
Look, there's 49,600 euros
Get out
in
of
here.
the car. Got to see it again. Oh, man.
So how early on do you start working with your actors? At what stage is that?
I cast forever and ever, and I cast so many people, and I say no to so many talented and fun people. So it's I don't work that much with them actually. I just find someone I think is the character, and then I kind of hang out with them a bit and get to know them, but not that much even. I mean, all it takes is to be truly you and share and be generous, and they will be truly them and share and be generous, and you will develop a mutual understanding. So you don't actually have to do that much work in amount of time. You always have, what you have to do is you have to be 100% present and there for them when you do meet them. But so I cast for years and years until I found like what I feel is like the perfect mix and match. That's also the doll's house thing, you know. Okay, so this one gives this and this one gives that, and they all come together to. It's like painting, really. But it's frustrating because I never know if I am gonna find the perfect people, you know. I'm struggling right now to find the main character of Galeg, and have said no to many really great and prestigious actors, you know, which is super weird. But they just don't fit in the puzzle, you know. Has nothing to do with their talent or abilities or generosity or anything. Yeah.
Well, that makes perfect sense when you see Holiday. That I couldn't imagine any other person in that role of her or any of the others. It's so much them.
Yeah. I very much typecast. Although sometimes a little bit from the side. The guy who plays Jens, who's like the muscle guy he's got the couple, not many, he's got the neck tattoo and he's like bald, and he's the guy who sings. He's actually a musical artist who only has long hair, and you have to be a little bit perceptive to see that he could be that guy. And I actually cast him because I wanted that character to be a good singer.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And have you always worked this way with actors, or is it something that's developed during the years?
I mean, everything develops, of course. I mean, you work with what you have. My very first fiction short, I mean, it's with a friend and her friend, you know. But yeah, I guess, yes, I do typecast. I mean, because I like to be surprised. I like to see stuff that I couldn't figure out intellectually, and that usually comes from personal experience. So I try to cast people who know what they're talking about in terms of what's happening, who have real pain and real life experience, and that's why it's so hard to find middle-aged Danish guy who knows anything about pain and suffering. It's a joke, but so many privileged middle-class actors. I can't do anything with.
Yeah, you have to find someone unknown who's actually lived in Greenland.
Not actually lived in Greenland, but who knows what desperation is. Who knows true hunger. Yeah. That's why Victoria was. I wasn't sure I could do Holiday before I found her. Someone who understood that hunger, but who also is grounded enough to work with a script on an intellectual level. So it's nobody else I could imagine could do that in Denmark. I mean, but it's also a small country. It's easier when you get bigger.
Na, sowas.
Swarovski. Wir haben es in der Schweiz gekauft. Die Schweizer sind so geschickt mit solchen kleinen Dingchen.
Bestimmt. Uhrwerke und so.
Ja, und diese winzig kleinen Schokolädchen, ihr weißt schon.
Siehst du das, Manfred?
Were you some of the actors, or were you playing?
Yes. I'm always. I try to always be in the movie. It's because I wanted to be an actress when I was younger, and then I wasn't a pretty girl, so nobody cast me in the lead role. So this is exactly what I thought. I'll be the director, and I just cast myself. So that's what I'm doing.
I love that. That's nice. Does that give something to your relationship to the actors that you as a director go into the film, or is it?
No, but I think it gives something that I know how it is to be there in front of the camera. Yeah.
In what way?
I respect the vulnerability and the courage it takes to stand there very, very much. And I respect when people want to protect themselves. I don't know. It's just, it's hard to say. So much of our work is completely subconscious. But, it's just a little easier maybe to relate.
Yeah. Part of that trust building.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Makes sense. it seems like you've also, or you must have worked a lot with the cinematographer.
Oh yes. This is actually when I started out with filmmaking 20 years ago. I was a person who read a lot of literature and watched theater. I wasn't visually inclined at all. I'm supposed to be part of the generation that grew up with TV, but I'm not, because I never watched TV. But I did watch like a VHS collection that my parents had. But I didn't take film seriously. It was just fun, you know. And I was into literature and theater, and I wanted to write. And when I realized that actually I do have a lot of visual reference, I have seen Bergman and Charlie Chaplin and like some of the great 50s movies from a very early age, actually, because of this VHS library. Whereas the visual storytelling is amazing. I had to sort of consciously switch my head around and go from a literary perspective to a visual perspective. And I was very, very thorough and started, when I started like learning photography and stuff, I went in as a videographer, so, you know, cinematographer, but you know, in the video revolution days, to kind of rewire my brain a little bit. And I was like working on TV as like a weather image camera person. go out and look for fun weather pictures for the night's news show, you know.
Nice.
And I had Anders Petersen as a teacher at one point, who's an absolutely amazing Swedish still photographer, completely iconographic, and I was very lucky to have him as a teacher for a week, and I've done a lot of still photography and, you know, classic and black and white, go out and find people kind of still photography, and tried to like really put down a lot of work to educate myself. And from that position, I get to know now I kind of all dropped it a little bit. I'm not updated with the technology or anything. I'm not that kind of technical director, but I do bond with cinematographers over a certain perspective, you know, on the world. Light, super important. Yeah.
So what kind of discussions or rules did you make up with Nadim Carlsen?
For Holiday? Well, I think a very important thing that is very obvious in the final project is that we wanted there to be light everywhere. So there are like no dark corners. It's an old thing. It's in Notes from Underground too, that I hate it when, you know, dark equals evil. You know, I think that's a cliche I don't like. Because I think it feeds too much into our primitive. I think it's very important not to feed a certain primitive fear that whatever is unknown is dangerous, because that feeds into racism and just generally, you know, a not healthy perspective on the world. It's important of me that people know that, you know, it's not the dark shadow in the park that's dangerous. Really, it's the person at home that's potentially dangerous to you, you know. So with these two films, Not From Underground is shot like very blandly, no contrast, and this one is shot with a lot of sunlight, a lot of contrast, but just the light gets in everywhere. There are like no shadows. And that was like a thing we did very much on purpose.
Oliver. Det gør ondt.
Also, we tinted the whole film a little bluer than you would expect for something shot at the Mediterranean. And that gives the whole thing a very, like a cold feeling like a polished feeling, like you're watching some kind of commercial or something. So it's because the end result is you get the yellow light from the Mediterranean and you blue it a little bit so you get like a very white look, like right in the middle, neither blue nor yellow.
It's really nice because I think that's also part of why I feel like it's both dangerous and attractive at the same time.
Yeah, exactly. And I had also I had a thing where I wanted the whole film to feel like you were stuck in a candy shop. It's like you're locked inside a candy shop and you can't get out. So that's the claustrophobia, but also all these like bubbly, bright colors, you know, and this hunger, you know, that can never be satisfied because if you're stuck inside a candy shop, you're eventually going to die from malnutrition. That was kind of the whole theme of the film.
That's fantastic. That's totally the film.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
That also feeds into the PR footage that you've made.
Yeah, yeah. I'm very involved with that. So I think it's an important part of the film. Actually, it's part of what you put out there. So I actually designed the poster myself together, but of course with an art director. But I was there painting the blood and stuff.
Nice.
Actually, it's a thing I can recommend to everyone is when you're conceptualizing your film, when you're trying to work out what your film is, what it was, make the poster, you know, just draw it or make it up in your head. You know, you don't have to go out and shoot it. But that's a very good way to ground yourself. What is this film really about, and how do I want to present it to the world? Because we're working in a visual medium, and you think, words are nice and seductive, but not everything is best told through words, especially when we're working in this medium.
Wow.
Yeah.
And how do you work with your editor? Is that in script phase that you begin your collaboration, or where does it begin?
I don't know yet, because I've had problems in editing every time. Either I try to edit myself and I get completely overwhelmed, or I edit with someone else and we don't quite speak the same language. I've started a collaboration with Michel, what's his second name? A Swedish editor. I think I haven't found my editor yet. I need someone who is more interested in rhythm than in dramaturgy, and I'm afraid that most Danish editors have been too ingrained with this whole dramaturgy thinking, like main character, follow her like this, and see the arc and all that. And it's, yeah, that's all good, but that's to me actually, that's a little bit crude. That's a little bit shallow, because we all know how to tell stories. Like, every single one of us knows exactly what a dramaturgical arc is. Every baby knows it, because we've seen so much films. We've told so many stories every day. Every journalism article is a story. So that's the easy part. You know, everyone can do that. But the rhythm, the pacing, the exact, you know, that's a difficult part. And then I need someone who focuses on that. So I'm still looking.
Yeah, because the rhythm was something that I really noticed in your film. Not just, but also your earlier work, that it seems very important. And to me, it almost seems like your images are so composed that they force you into a certain rhythm in a way.
Yes, they do. Yeah. And that's part of what the choreography does as well. You have these moments in time, you know, that happen, unfold within the thing. So rhythm is crucial, and especially if we work like that. But in any film.
Are there any qualities that you think is important as a director to hold on to or work on?
Honesty, I think, is like the most important and very, very difficult, even for a annoyingly honest person like myself. To be honest when you're not sure within yourself, and to dare to go there and be there in that position of, I don't know, until you find the answer. Or go with your first thing, whatever. And, don't censor, absolutely don't censor. That's the worst. That's what kills directors, is when they start to try and be pleasers. Oh, I think the audience maybe wants this and that, and then you already lost it, Because if you can't ground it in your own passion, and then you're making something mediocre, and people are going to be nice about it, but it's not going to be interesting. Yeah, so I think be honest and don't censor, I think, is two absolutely most important things.
Yeah, that's really good advice.
Yeah. Even when you disgust yourself a little bit, and I've been, for example, in Charlie, that's, if I don't know if you saw that one, that's what I'm actively trying to do, is to create a persona of myself as a disgusting old lady who wants to look at beautiful young boys. And I'm really going into that space. Like, I think it's so gross, and I think it's super important to dare to do that, because that's when interesting things start to happen.
Jag ser alla de där små drängar i bevägelse, och jag får lust att beväga mig med dem, följa den där friheten och skönheten i bevägelsen. Men ja, en framåt här jag höjt till. Jag får nöja mig med att skriva en historia som jag plejer istället för om det där små drängar. Och här kommer den.
Do you have any advice on how to find that? Like, how to find out what to dive into?
I guess, this is an old truth, but, whatever you're most or least attracted to, whatever you're automatically drawn to that you can't help, or whatever you absolutely and totally repel. Like, I would never go there. That's where you should probably be looking. Like in Willkommen in Barbaristan was like that. I'm like, that's actually a story from my life. It's the only time I made a film that was actually about me, like literally exactly what happened to me. Of course, I made it like a very over the top and like very stylized, but it's my story, and that's what I thought when we had a consultant or like a teacher in the school who told us to take something in our own life, and I was like, absolutely not. I will never do anything about myself. It's boring and it's unrestricted, and just while making all these excuses, I could already sense that maybe it actually did matter a lot to me, and actually I should look at it. Yeah, whenever you have a strong emotion, really, if it's rage or sorrow or love or joy or fear, and go there.
Seid ihr denn vollständig verrückt?
Yeah, I think that it's really good advice, maybe especially to young filmmakers, to your own experience and see what you can find there and twist it somehow.
Yeah, exactly. Create a strong metaphor so you dare to go into the dark places, Like my metaphor for being a stranger in Germany was to have a black girl among white people, and that really worked to put it outside of me, so I could be very, very truthful without everyone saying, isn't that you? There was something else as well. Oh yeah, but don't be afraid of doing pastiche. Pastiche is great. Just take your favorite director and do a complete copy of their work, just frame by frame. Not frame by frame, but just how would they do? And that's an extremely healthy experiment, and can make some really cool things happen. Again, because the work gets richer, it gets enriched when you have your thing and somebody else's thing, and that's what filmmaking is about. You're building, it gets richer and richer for every person that contributes, and that's also why you have to have. You can't be a dictator. You have, in the sense that you have to have your people be open and playful, because that's when you get the maximum richness out of the work. And of course you have to steer in the direction, but you can't intimidate people. You can't have people be afraid. I think that's a really, really bad idea. And again, I don't understand how directors that do that can get good films done. Probably just because they hire so competent people that these people just, know how to look past it. Yeah.
I think it would be interesting maybe to hear a bit about how you work on creating a complex female character like Victoria Kamen's Pat is in Holiday. Are you working consciously on enhancing some part of her because she's female, or is it just because that she's a character like any other character? Do you deal with it the same way, whether it's male or female parts?
I don't think I thought in those terms when I did the film. But what I did do is that I treated Michael and Thomas as cliches. So what I did do was actually I turned the trope of the femme fatale around and made Michael into the femme fatale and Thomas into the nice girl, And I took this, and I think this is my absolute hate film in the world, is when a young director, so many young male director goes out and makes a film about how he's together with this sweet and boring girl, and he just wants to fuck this sexy one, and he has to do it, and then goes back to the nice girl, So I tried to turn it around, and I actually it's a thing I've been trying to do ever since, all the time, I think, is to consciously objectify male characters. Because like Claire Denis does in Beau Travail, which I think is an absolutely brilliant film, that's one way to battle the laziness of the male gaze. It's just have a very conscious female gaze, and just, or gay, whatever, not. It's so funny how we all, as women, grow up with films that are constantly treating women as potential partners when that's not our life, if you're not gay. Well, it wasn't mine. So I did that very consciously. I put Michael and Thomas in the role of femme fatale and nice. Well, male fatale and nice guy, and made them like super cliches. And I think maybe that contrast made her seem more complex. I'm not sure. But I think that definitely made the perspective very clear.
But I just felt very empowered by seeing her. She was in no way a weak character, and I hate when women are seen as weak or victims of violence or something like that, because I feel like here you have a very strong character who is actively choosing something. She is trapped in the candy store, as you say, but still I feel with her all the time. I always understand why she's doing it. It never feels like a victim.
Candy is nice.
Yeah.
You can't argue with that.
That's true.
Mastic? What is mastic? What do you... No, I'm just kidding. Okay. Mastic. En, der en, der hedder nar.
Ja, ik heb ooit eens een keer aan
Så skal jeg få dit nar.
De dag over de reden. Spugen. Verschrikkelijk.
Yes, thank you.
I feel so boring now.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I was gonna order vanilla, but now I mean...
Really?
Yeah.
Strawberry?
You don't look like vanilla at all.
What?
You don't look like vanilla at all.
I don't?
No.
What do I look like then?
Yeah, I think that's fine.
Let me see.
Do you have some sauce?
Strawberry cheesecake. Strawberry cheesecake.
Chocolate.
No? What would you say?
I would say strawberry champagne sorbet.
So congratulations on making a really wonderful film.
Thank you very much.
Do you have any final advice that you want to give to other young filmmakers?
Just do your thing. Yeah. It doesn't really matter. Don't plan too much. It doesn't really matter if you can make this in the future or not. It's not important. The only thing that matters is to follow your passion. Don't even. I hate the American thing, follow your dream. It's not about a dream. It's about passion. What happens in 20 years? Fuck that. Nobody knows. You know, the country might be in civil war anyway. Just follow your passion in this moment and do your shit. You know, and then it'll work out. Yeah.
That's a good advice. I'll do that myself as well.
Great.
Thank you so much for meeting with me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, me too. It was fun.